I mentioned on the podcast a couple of days ago that I've finally set up my sales consultancy practice. And the name that I've chosen for the business is Aberdeen Business Consulting. Now, I'd like to point out, again, like I did at the last recording, that I am in no way affiliated to the university or to the town of Aberdeen in Scotland. It's just a name that I picked for sentimental reasons because I lived there for a while. I worked there for a while, and I sort of consider that place my second home. You could say that's my LGA in Nigerian terms, my local government authority. So, yeah, that's why I consider Aberdeen. It's like my second village. Anyway, so being that I have fond ties to the place, I have still kept in touch with my alma mater there. That's the University of Aberdeen. And it's something that I have recommended times past over here on the podcast for those of us who have advanced degrees to continue to do, not just for foreign-based universities. Now, that's for those of us who are Nigerians, because typically, at least in my age set, typically people have 2 degrees. You have your basic degree or your first degree at home here in Nigeria, and then you have an advanced degree abroad. And so it's my opinion that we should be in touch with our alma maters because those are good networking opportunities where you can bring value to other people and other people bring value to you in return. So on the foreign front, I've been in touch with I'm still in touch with the University of Aberdeen through a mentor slash mentee program that they've got going on, where a couple of us who are out and about in the job market and trying to run businesses get to mentor other people who are undergraduates, and we get to pay it forward. We get to help usher people in through into life and through different career stages and business stages. The same sort of resource that a lot of us would have found useful when, a decade or two ago, we were going through our own journeys as undergraduates and newbies on the scene. So I've been doing that for, I think it's close to 3 years now. And I currently have another mentee who is, okay, I'm not going to mention her degree course. I'm not sure if that would violate privacy. But anyway, I currently have a mentee, or rather another mentee. And of course, since I'm here in Nigeria and she is in the United Kingdom, a whole lot of the stuff that we have to do is internet-based. So we're sending lots of emails back and forth. But then again, we're also doing our meetings about twice a month. We're doing that on Zoom. And for those of you who've been wondering that what is this, Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Aberdeen, mentor, mentee, what does all have to do with us, wedding planners, wedding photographers, wedding videographers? Now, this is what it has to do with you guys. Now, because of the particularities of my situation, I'm having to conduct a lot of business with this young lady over Zoom. I don't have to do that in Nigeria because, let's face it, for Nigerians, I know that for Americans, people in the United Kingdom, Australia, where else, Canada, you guys are not back to business as usual. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, for all intents and purposes, being practical here, we're back to business as usual. So yes, you'll have to put on your face mask if you have to go into certain stores, for instance, especially stores that have much more international orientation. So if you're going to shop at Game or at ShopRite, what else? If you have to go to the cinema, the cinema chains we have here are South African. What else? So if you're going to places like that, okay, hospitals, you have to put on your face mask and observe protocols. But in other places, the market, what else? Government offices, meeting with clients, all of that is out the window, except for those of us who are trying to be really health conscious. So in Nigeria, there are a couple of us who don't have to worry about the hassle of dealing with Zoom right now because let's say we have COVID fatigue in Nigeria. People are just trying to get on to make a living. However, if you do happen to be in this situation that I am, that you have to do several dealings over Zoom, because it is possible. Even before the pandemic, there was a couple that I was trying to seal the deal with. The bride was here, but the groom who was going to cough up the dough was in America, and so a couple of the conversations that we had were over. Sorry, not iMessage. There's Apple's video. Apple has a native video thing. I can't remember what it's called. There's iMessage, that's with the blue bubbles. Then there's the I something, whatever that video thing is. FaceTime, yes, that's it, FaceTime. So we had to do a lot of conversations, getting to know each other, negotiating, and all of that. We had to do it through FaceTime. So there's going to be times, especially now with COVID and everybody being educated about this whole video thing, because back then, like 5 years ago, those of us who were willing to get on WhatsApp video or FaceTime, we were what I say, rarities. Most people didn't do that. But now that everybody's comfortable with the idea or exposed to the idea, it's possible that we're going to have to do business, a lot of business in the future, using video facilities. So you could be discussing with your bride and grooms, and they're based in the United Kingdom, or you could be here in Abuja and you're trying to have a conversation with the bride. Let's say she works in Nasarawa, but because her folks are here, the wedding is going to be here. So you might have to do quite a bit of all the chit chat, getting to know you, negotiation, and everything. You might have to do some of that over video if you want to be much more personable, or if the bride is looking for a much more personable way of interacting rather than just sending emails back and forth. Now, so the reason why I'm making this recording today, sorry for the very long preamble, is because now that doing business over video is part of our concrete reality in this business space, there are a couple of people who still have some hang-ups about the use of video. Like, yes, we have to do Zoom, but I don't want my face to show. Or, yes, we have to do Zoom, I want my face to show, but the brides and grooms or the other people that I'm talking to do not want to turn on their video, and I find that disrespectful. I want them to turn on their video, blah, blah, blah. So loads of all those hang-ups. So, in my own opinion, now, looking at it from the level of the event professional, now remember, you are the one who is the professional, so you have to be taking the initiative on a lot of all these things. Okay? So let's allow our prospective brides and grooms to have whatever hang-ups that they do, but we are the ones who are the professionals here. We are the ones who are seeking a certain end. We are the ones who want something, so we have to take the initiative. So if you are going to be on a Zoom call at all, as a wedding planner, as a photographer, or whatever, you're the one who is initiating, you're the one who is chasing, then by all means, please turn on your video. If you are not going to turn on your video, and decidedly so, but you guys agree to a Zoom, then why agree to a Zoom session in the first place? You might as well just make a phone call or do the, WhatsApp call, audio version only. It doesn't have to be a Zoom session. But if the bride asked for a Zoom session, the assumption is maybe she's trying to get a feel of you and things like that. And if you accept, I'm assuming you accepted, rightfully so, thinking that having face-to-face contact would be a nice way to distinguish yourself, and both of you get to suss out your personality and stuff like that. So when the time comes and ring ring, it goes through, your video is on and her video is not on, if you're taken aback, you might just point out that your video isn't on. Just say it like that. And if she says, oh yeah, I know, I don't want my video on, then don't just get up all in your feels like, you're now thinking in your head that, okay, so why did you make this thing a Zoom thing if I'm going to have my video on and you're not going to have your video on? And then because of that, you turn your video off, and then you're in that awkward situation where it's clear that you're kind of miffed. The conversation has already started, and then it's clear to the bride or whoever it is that you're talking to that you started off this conversation miffed already. Just leave your video on and then continue the conversation. All is not lost. Because what you are trying to do is to get someone to know you, to like you, and to trust you. So actually, it is more important that you be on video more than prospective brides or grooms or whoever the client is. They should be able to get to see you, how likable you are, how personable you are, and when you are stressing certain things or making a point, it's going to come across not just inflection, in the voice, but also mannerisms, face, and all of that. So actually, it is much more important than you be on video instead of the other person. Remember, I'm looking at this from the angle of we are the professionals, we have to take the initiative. If we are talking about, family dynamics, you were having village meeting over Zoom or whatever, then these principles do not apply. I'm talking about commercial situations here where you are trying to close the deal. So let's be dispassionate about it. Okay, now, how do you conduct the conversation being that you're looking at a blank screen? Now, this is one thing that you have to remember, that when it comes to sales and persuasion, sometimes it's a performance. So you have to remember that it's a performance, and so just put your game face on. Look straight at the camera. Don't look at that black box. If you look at the black box in front of you, then you're not going to have the benefit of eye contact. Now, it's hard to understand. It's kind of counterintuitive, but trust me. Even if the other person's video is on and you're looking intently at the box where the person's face is, for the other person on the other side, it's going to look like you're looking askew, like you're looking down or looking to the left or looking to the right or looking up. I mean, depending on how you have configured your screen. So if you look straight into the camera, not looking at the little box, psychologically, there's that thing of the person feels like they are making direct eye contact with you. Because even if they are looking askew off to the left or to the right or whatever, they're looking at the little box. As far as they're concerned, they are looking you right in the eye. So whether the person's video is on or not, always look into the camera. For some phone systems, the camera is going to be next to a little dot that shows that the video is on and something is recording. So if you have one of those phones where the camera isn't obvious because it just blends into that black background, then it's okay to look at that red dot. Or I think for Zoom it's a green dot. I can't remember. For some apps it's a red dot. For some, I think for Zoom, I think it's a green dot. So it's okay to just look at that green dot because that green dot is directly underneath the camera. So that's what you do. Look directly there and then keep having your conversations as normal. And then just pretend that you know what the level of engagement or interaction is at the other side. Now, you're not going to have to pretend 100% because even though we don't have video feedback, we do have audio feedback. And you can tell when you're having a conversation with someone over audio that the person is disinterested or the person is excited, or you get a sense of whether the person is paying attention or not. So the audio feedback that you're going to get is going to be very useful in gauging how the conversation is going along. So of course, if the bride sounds like she's excited, you guys are vibing, then by all means continue. Look straight into the camera. If she laughs, you find it funny, you laugh. If she says something, it's humorous or endearing, you smile. Just pretend you know what's going on the other end, using all the audio feedback that you can get. So that's it pretty much that I wanted to go on about today, how to conduct business using Zoom, especially in situations where the other person does not put on the camera. Oh yes, one more thing. Apart from the audio feedback that you're going to get from the bride or the groom on the other end, there's also the matter of you prompting feedback. Because if you just look straight into the camera and you go on for a 5-minute monologue, that's not going to be very effective. You might put the person to sleep. So you have to take a break and pause from time to time and actually solicit feedback on what it is that you are saying. Like with my mentee, we came up with a course of action. We're trying to secure internships for her with different organizations, and we came up with a game plan. And at each juncture where we discussed the specific aspect of the game plan that I proposed, I would ask for feedback. So, okay, so this is what we're going to do. You have to prepare an email to send to the career service. You have to prepare an email to send to the career service so that they can answer these questions and so we can make sure that your CV is up to date. What do you think about that? And then, looking into the camera, I keep quiet. And then, of course, my mentee, she would speak. She would say things she thought were okay, things she didn't agree with, or stuff that she would need some more help with, and then that moves the conversation along forward. So take time, strategic periods, especially when you guys are discussing specific initiatives. So let's say, for instance, you guys are negotiating, and you've said your figure, and they say, rara, that's not going to work. What we can do at most is 2,500 per head. And let's say you are beginning to consider that option, but you find it kind of untenable. That's the point where you say at 2,500, well, the only way we can make that work is if we cut out the continental dish section on the menu. Are you guys willing to forego that? And you look straight into the camera and you keep quiet. And so it's like that. With specific proposals or initiatives, prompt for feedback, and nothing is perfect, but if the person asked for a Zoom call and they've turned off your video, really, this is just the best you can do. Remember, you're the one who wants something. It's a performance. Don't get up in your feels. Just continue with your performance accordingly. Don't start off the conversation feeling miffed and making it obvious that you're upset that she decided to hook up a Zoom session and the bride or the groom is not going to put on the video. So look squarely into the camera. Don't look at the black box. Even if the person's video is on, don't look at that square. You can glance there from time to time because you're trying to gauge whether the person is feeling the conversation and body language and things like that. But most of the time, be looking at the video or the red dot. The red dot or the green dot is going to be either to the left or right or at the bottom of the actual camera on your phone. And then what else? Rely on audio feedback and then prompt feedback at different points of the conversation, and you should be fine. Most importantly, remember, this might be the new way of doing business for the future because it's not like 5 years ago or 10 years ago where people are not aware of these things. WhatsApp video, FaceTime. Zoom has been around actually for 3 years, although I didn't do Zoom I think Zoom has been around for 4 years, but I didn't have to do Zoom until the pandemic. Before then, it was just FaceTime and then WhatsApp video. So a lot more people are used to these things. I mean, even our grandparents are on these things now, and we're having lots of conversations that way. Grandparents, grandkids, everyone. So get over your hangovers concerning video. It's here to stay, and it might be the way of doing business for the future. You never know. And besides, it might be good practice before virtual reality comes online, and then all of that. So so less hang-ups. Let's embrace this, and these are ways to deal with it, especially where people decide that they don't want to show their faces on video. So thank you very much for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based sales consultant and event media professional, Tavishima Ayede. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.